Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Lord KO here, bringing you guys episode 1 of the Netplay Hero. A Netplay Hero will be a ongoing weekly series that focuses around current events and topics for Dissidia NT. Other games may be incorporated in the future, but for now we're going to start with Dissidia NT. For week 1, we'll be discussing EU's clutch victory in last week's Friday Night Fights and their overall competitive style and approach as a region. As a quick reminder, we'll be hosting rotating weekly lobbies for both the PS4 and PC edition of Dissidia NT. So definitely give me a follow on Twitter and Twitch. Best way to know when those are going live. They'll be coordinated via Dissidia Network. Without further ado, let's jump into the first premiere episode. Hey guys, welcome to the first installment of the Netplay Hero. Just a disclaimer, there really won't be a script with this, so just pretty much bullet points of certain points that we want to kind of discuss and get into. So first and foremost, why does this series even exist? I would definitely say that for the most part, one of my major influences, a lot of people in FTC as well, definitely was Maximilian with his weekly online warrior. For sure, I think that was one thing that actually helped me get into Marvel 3 a lot. When I was just an addict, you know, I just couldn't get enough of that game. Still, to a certain extent, it's kind of the same way nowadays. But that was kind of the inspiration behind this. But I didn't really want to ape it, you know what I mean? I just wanted to kind of do my own thing with it. And Dissidia NT is definitely the game that I'm the most passionate about. So that's pretty much where the primary motivation came from. So pretty much a couple bullet points when it comes to the series. It's going to be on a weekly basis. Every Friday we'll be uploading a new video. And it'll just have pretty much different concurrent topics regarding what's going on with the game, the community, what, you know, pretty much where we are with everything regarding Dissidia NT. Might branch into other games in the future. Probably going to do some Marvel ones and whatever games just really strike my interest, to be quite honest. So let's go ahead and take a look at this week's topic. This week's topic is going to be EU's performance last week at Friday Night Fight. So I don't think I'm alone with this by saying that was a bit of an upset for sure. That was a really, really fantastic set. There's no other way to put it. So let me kind of tell you guys the genesis of this Friday Night Fights. I work from home, right? So when I work from home, you know, sometimes you want to, on your breaks or lunch and stuff like that, you want to take a look at some other stuff. You know, my favorite thing to watch is NT, because it's normally like scrims, like 3-4 hour blocks, stuff like that. And you can just kind of have it in the background, you know, while you work. So that's generally the best. You can kind of glance at it every now and again. It's not really anything too commitment. So I actually saw Team Koopa Warriors playing against Kumagawa's team, Team Jin. And they were going like back and forth. They were even. And I was like, kept looking. I was like, wow, this is really impressive. And they were using different comps, different teams and everything like that. And it just overall was just, it really, really impressed me. And I was like, okay, let me try and get them for Friday Night Fight. So I reached out, and Nikasumi was really, really gracious about the whole thing. And he got his team together. I always ask, as a disclaimer, if I ever reach out to you about Friday Night Fights, I want the strongest team comp. I want what you consider to be your A game. I understand sometimes they're not available in subs and stuff like that. In most cases, I would just rather wait another week or try and reschedule to make sure we have the strongest team available, because I want to make sure that this is supposed to be the premiere. You know what I mean? This is a situation where it's the best of the best is fighting. So they got the best team, and honestly, it was going pretty back and forth. From the onset, I don't think that Team Oreo expected to really be going up this caliber of play, because they ended up switching their comps a few times until they finally, it seems like they got into the most comfortable characters. I know Jay switched to Renoa, and Metsu switched to his Noctis, which is obviously just really strong character. And they were going really back and forth. You know, this was one that could have really went either way. At one point in the set, Team Koopa Warriors was actually on match point, and Team Oreo brought it back like 4 games in a row. They brought it all the way back to 9-9, which is insanely hype, and we were losing our mind on commentary. It was just, man, it was really interesting to see. And from watching other EU teams, or even Team Koopa Warriors scrim, they really aren't afraid to go against convention, or what we consider to be like the meta, right? Air quotes. So I've seen them definitely use double heavy to great effect, like 2 vanguards that they use that a lot actually, with a lot of success. I see one of the teammates actually using Access with Omni Block with great success. It's just things that we don't traditionally think of as strong, but they are quite useful, and they just end up being quite a problem to deal with. If you are not versed in that, and when you go to fight it, it's going to really be quite difficult for you because you don't know how to punish it. You know, it's not something it's not muscle reflex already. So that's one thing that's very interesting. And Nikasumi, the way that they play around him is very interesting because it's almost like a tower comp. At any point, if Emetsu tried to go in, he was just getting collapsed on. You know what I mean? They would both come back and protect him because, you know, Yuna is such a strong character, and he's obviously very, very strong with that character. That character alone can do everything. You know what I mean? She can pretty much control the entire pace of the battlefield. So I like the way that they really played around her. As the match went on, they didn't really need to do that as much because it seemed like they kind of changed their approach. Esu really started becoming much more aggressive and was going in right with Emetsu, which made the approach overall much safer. Another really standout from the series, honestly, was Barto, the Bart's player. You know, anybody that knows me, I'm definitely a Bart's fanboy. You know, I'm a Bart's fanatic. Even though I haven't actually played all of Final Fantasy V. Yeah, don't cancel me for that. That's just real. It's being real out here, okay? But I really like to see really high level play of that character because it's a character that we all understand is strong, but he doesn't always have a lot of results, you know, within our league. We have Nyx, of course, who is the premier Bart's for NA for sure. But just seeing another person use him at that very high level was really great. And he definitely got a lot of he got a lot of dancers off that he, you know, it caught the trigger for fully mastery. And that was just excellent to see. You know, I mean, we always like to see that as a Bart's player. And just really, his whole performance is quite good. All three team members were really quite excellent. Looking at Team Oreo, they played quite well. They played insane as well, especially that comeback. It's really hard, and I'll speak from my own experience. Generally, when I don't really like first attempts because what ends up happening is if I'm like out of my own head, I can really get to like 8, 7, or 9 really quickly, and then I'll just like, I don't know, not like fall apart, but I just won't be as sharp anymore. Then the other person can come back like 4 or 5 games. It happens to me all the time. It happens in different games as well. I don't know what it is about me, but that just happens. So it was like watching that happen in real life and in real time. It was really interesting. But they definitely found what approach they needed to employ in order to really disrupt Cooper Warrior's momentum. And it seemed like Esu going in right next to Emetsu was really what ultimately ended up paying off for them. The gameplay from all three team members was just absolutely phenomenal. Jay actually ended up starting with Ultimisia, but he went through a couple different shoots, ultimately landing on Renoa, which I think... Actually, I started using Renoa recently, honestly, and just she's really good. She's actually really fun. That's the thing. When she first launched, I thought she was kind of underwhelming because I was really a fan of like Emperor, Ace, stuff like that. Just characters that have like at least a few like high priority, long distance projectiles, stuff like that. Obviously, Imp with his flares and Ace with his, you know, Ford Brave and his card ball on the ground and stuff like that. It's just, I was just kind of more akin to that, but I didn't necessarily write her off. I knew she was always good. I always knew she was good because like players would kick my ass with her. Like clearly she's good, but she just had to be played in a very specific style. And I always thought she was kind of shallow, but she's clearly not. You know, she has 2 different forms. I actually like the doggo. You know what I mean? The utility that doggo brings is pretty dope to her entire playstyle. And I think she can really support a team quite well, especially if your goal is to get in there and stay aggressive. I think she might almost be unparalleled with there. Because she can really be right there with you. You know what I mean? She has really great holds. Her neutral brave hold is just really great. She just has everything, really. Shame she didn't actually make the top 5 marksman list, but she just didn't have the things necessary to be there. But I digress. Ultimately, he did end up landing on Renoa, which I think is his one of his strongest shoots for sure. But definitely more of a comfort pick I felt coming from him. And just looking at them playing this, it was almost like 4D chess, you know? Every play was just every single knockback, every single down, every single stock loss. It all weighed so much because once, you know, they got the momentum going on either side of the field, it was a train. It was literally just a freight train, and there was no stopping it. There was some matches that went by in like 40 seconds. You know, it wasn't even a summon, and just to see that was pretty good. So one thing I also wanted to talk about was, let's talk about EU overall, right? So EU as a region. From what I've seen, right, I'm just an NA spectator, right? So they have a pretty vibrant community. They always have. And competitively, it's always been a bit obscure for kind of us on the other side of the pond here. is that we know that there's strong teams over there, but due to the connection issues, specifically on PS4, we don't really get a chance to play them. You know what I mean? Or if we do play them, it's not always quality connection. So we actually lose out on that. And they lose out on playing us, which is a shame on both sides of the fence. But we always knew, I always respected them and knew they were strong. You know, we always obviously have Phantom Divine, which has Saren and Levi on it, and other rotating members, both from EU. Then you have World Engine, which is Saren and Lambda. Then you also have clearly Koopa Warriors, Astral Thorns. There's a lot of really great EU talent, you know what I mean? But I just really feel like they haven't always been showcased just due to if the game had better network architecture, clearly we could showcase it more and we could arrange things like this more, but literally everybody has to be having a good internet day. You know what I mean? It's just the nature of the game is so fickle, and that comes at a very unfortunate cost for a lot of the other regions that actually have talented players. But I really like the way that they shake up the meta. They're not afraid to try new things. You know, what if it works, if it doesn't, stuff like that, and that's all fine. You know, so that's gonna do it for episode 1 of the Netplay Hero. So if you guys have any other topic discussions that you want to bring up or anything like that, definitely hit me on Twitter, hit me on Twitch. The links will be below. This will be kind of a more of a freestyle weekly basis, but I'm looking forward to doing this and seeing what you guys' suggestions are for each episode. But I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.